It's been a hard year for entrepreneurs and young firms, but it's been especially hard for firms run by entrepreneurs of color and by women because some of the inequities and the barriers that existed even before the pandemic were just accelerated or amplified during the pandemic. I think if we can get education right and business ownership, those are two very critical ones because everyone needs a quality education no matter what you're going to do, whether you're going to take a job or make a job as an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurs are the next generation of job creators in our community. So we need to make sure that we're fully tapping the human potential in Kansas City and not just for some. Everyone needs an opportunity to succeed.
Health is about the community conditions that shape our health, where we work, where we live, where we play, where we pray. All of those factors play a significant component into how healthy we are. The two most underlying factors that drive health outcomes are not just race, but racism and our income. Those are the factors that underpin poor health. And Health Forward is applying a lens with those two factors centered to begin to address the root causes that impact our health more than healthcare itself.
So the Midwest, like every part of the country, suffered during the pandemic. It took a huge toll on our economy everywhere. In the case of the Midwest, though, I would argue we had a couple of advantages. One is we are in the part of the country where there are wide open spaces. And as it turned out, density did not work to your advantage during the pandemic. The other thing that our economy in this part of the country, I think, continues to show is its resilience because of its diversity. So relying on a broad range of industries, from healthcare to tech firms, life sciences, engineering, have given us a better chance at resilience during a time like we've experienced over the past year.
During the pandemic, one of the things that I love about Kansas City are the relationships. And we jumped in with many other foundations and businesses across Kansas City to support our nonprofit partners, our health and human service partners, and raised about $19 million and really supported within a week or two, like really. And really came through strongly to ensure that lights stayed on for struggling families, to ensure that there was food in the pantry and in the refrigerator for struggling families during the pandemic, and to ensure that healthcare workers were able to have childcare services during the pandemic. Kansas City is such a rich, philanthropic city that has a heart of gold.
So when people ask me why nursing, I always kind of smile because I have a little sister who has cerebral palsy. So I was always part of that care team at home. I was helping mom with the feedings, bathing, physical therapy. And at a young age, I became the family interpreter. So I always tell people I never chose to be a nurse. I think I just kind of grew up being one. When I started working at the hospital along nurses, that's when I knew, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. And coming to William Jewell just kind of helped me solidify that. And they're giving me the tools that I need in order to continue caring for people. That's all I know.
So one of the things that I think is going to be very interesting to watch unfold is what happens post-pandemic in terms of how the economy might change. People have been more inclined to start new businesses during this time. We may see new kinds of businesses emerge after this time. The other thing that I think will be structural trends that may have already been in motion will be accelerated as a result of this pandemic. So when I think about things like how people buy things, they may be more inclined to online. How they pay for things has changed during this time as well. So we will see unfold in our economy, I think, a number of changes that will alter the economy as we knew it, and yet will bring great promise, I think, for the future of our economy in this part of the country.
So I think we all know that we can't go back to the way things were, before the pandemic, and that we have an opportunity in this country to rebuild better. And by that, what we mean at the foundation is that we have an economy and a society where everyone has an opportunity to achieve economic stability, economic mobility, and growth. I think we are a highly collaborative community. We have an ability to come together, and I love that because one of my favorite quotes of Mr. Kaufman said that, you know, all the money in the world really doesn't make a difference at the end of the day, but if you can bring people together, we can tackle almost any issue in front of us.
I did accept a job at Truman Medical Center in the medical ICU, and to me it's kind of a full circle kind of thing. I grew up in that area. I grew up with people who don't have any medical coverage at all, and sometimes they just wait until they're very sick before they seek medical help. To me, it was like coming home. I want to be able to serve the community that has given me so much and the community that I grew up with. I feel like there's that personal connection that I will have with those patients, and that's where I feel like I need to be, and that's what I'm excited about.
One of the things that I find astonishing about the Kansas City region not being a native to this area is that we speak with a unified voice as a region, as a civic community, around our goal of advancing all communities through shared prosperity. That's remarkable. And what's especially remarkable for me as a higher education leader is that higher education's been invited into that conversation. And Jewel has been eager to step forward into that dialogue and be a thought leader as we think about the marriage between education, our civic endeavors, and our economic drive to lift everyone out of poverty and into a place where we all can thrive and move forward together. That's what shared prosperity is all about.
The spirit of collaboration is something that has been hard won. It's been something that I've never seen it better than it is today. And I think the greatest expression of that, which started as this civic collaboration between Mid-America Regional Council, the Civic Council, the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce, and the Kansas City Area Development Council, those entities had really zeroed in on the idea of economic inclusion. That economic inclusion is an imperative. It's not just the right thing to do. It's an economic imperative. The greatest thing holding our city back is the disparity in outcomes. Educational attainment, the wealth gap, healthcare outcomes, and the fact that we've got companies that need to fill jobs and we've got unemployed people.
We've known for a long time, that our price point has stopped so many families, and particularly low-income families, from being able to engage with us and actually matriculate at Jewel and have that life-changing experience. And so we made the decision, and it's an equity-based decision, to lower our tuition almost by half going into the fall of 2021. And we've already seen conversations open up with communities that historically have not engaged with us because we made that equity-based decision around price. At Jewel, we know that attaining a college degree is life-changing for a student, but it also can be life-giving to an entire community. And when those individuals return to their communities, they're bringing ideas, they're bringing innovation, they're bringing a whole new way of looking at their community and themselves, and that advances the community that they serve.
I want to be the type of nurse that everyone comes to because I am just the resource in the room. So I want to become someone who's just full of knowledge. That's just my goal. And I have accepted a job in a critical care setting. My mom and dad are just very proud. We come from a place where we had nothing to eat sometimes. I remember playing around with tires and needles on the ground. So for them to be able to raise 3 children and putting us through school is just an accomplishment that you don't really hear about. So I sometimes tell people it's not really that they're proud of me. I think I'm just proud of them for what they've done for me.
There's a significant trend taking place right now within KC Rising, within the Kauffman Foundation, within KC Scholars, relative to the concept of real-world learning, market value assets. They all want kids to graduate from high school with some type of a skill that is perceived as having value in the marketplace. That is a huge shift in the mindset of education today, and it also is the precursor to what I would call short lead workforce development pipeline. It is really born out of the need for greater workforce development, both to create more jobs, but to fill jobs that currently sit unfilled because they lack the skilled labor that's needed, but also to create inclusivity in our economy.
Pretty much since the founding of higher education in America, we've had the attitude of, you need to be college ready. You need to prepare yourself for being able to succeed within higher education, when in fact, we should be student ready. We've changed that mindset, and now our interest is in reaching students where they are and really evaluating, are they students of promise who could thrive here?
Jewel has really taught me the importance of being a lifelong learner, and I think that I have learned how crucial it is to stay up to date with what's going on in the world of education. It's ever evolving, it's ever changing, and it's a beautiful thing, all these minds coming together, and there's always new ideas, and there's constantly new research about how the brain works and how children learn and the programs we should be using and the lessons you should be teaching. I'm excited to just embrace every challenge and experience that's going to come my way. I know that being a first-year teacher is going to be a super rewarding and also a super challenging experience. For me, I find a lot of joy in the little things, and I find a lot of joy in the little successes that I see in my students. It's really important that I am instilling this growth mindset in my children, that they are able to do anything that they want to do, and that I'm going to help them to get wherever they want to go, and I'm going to help them develop whatever skills that they need.
One of the great things about Kansas City is its spirit of collaboration, its civic-mindedness, and also its philanthropic inclination. In the case of education, those forces are aligning today to try to create a better world for everybody.
Being the chair of the Greater Kansas City Chamber is just an awesome experience. One of the initiatives that's really important right now that we're working on is our inclusive prosperity focus. And coming out of the social justice movement from the summer, we really started some listening sessions launched by Joe Reardon, our CEO, to listen to our Black community and tell us what it is that we can do better. And as a result of that, we formed 5 task forces to focus on education, professional development, access to employment, access to capital, just inclusive prosperity in general. And I think the Casey Rising Initiative is also focusing on inclusive prosperity. And I think all of that focus is coming together where we want to make improvements in our community, and we want it to be for everyone.
The Negro Leagues Baseball Museum is Kansas City's gift to the rest of the world. I think it is one of the most important cultural institutions because it is documenting and substantiating this wonderful piece of baseball and Americana that no one really knew anything about. But even beyond the fact that it's this great educational resource, its greatest value may be in the fact that it is an inspirational resource. People leave here inspired. They are inspired by the power of the human spirit to persevere and prevail.
There's a lot of issues to want to solve, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. I think though, if I had to really say what my passion is, I think it's just to address the inequalities in our country's economic and political and social institutions. I was accepted to the Fund for American Studies program in Washington, D.C., which is an academic internship program, so I'll be enrolled at George Mason University, and then I'll also go participate in an internship program in D.C. And then hopefully the plan is to stay out there long term and work either for a government agency or in Congress, hopefully for a while. And the ultimate goal, though, is to go to law school. I'm looking to kind of give myself a few years to get some work experience in policy and legislation, and then hopefully transition on to that next step to sort of maximize the eventual change that I hope to be able to make.
Here at Commerce Bank, I actually manage several foundations where the bank is trustee, and the bank's motto is that we help our customers focus on what matters most. And I think that when you think about our foundations, so many of them are about creating hope for people, that tomorrow will be better than today. So Whether that's hope through, we do a lot around education across these different foundations. We also really believe in the power of arts, history, culture, civics. So a lot of times those get pushed aside as frivolous, but we really believe in the power of beauty and transcendent experiences and the education. We think a lot about journalism and the importance of creating an informed citizenry. Across the board, we want to attract and retain great talent here in Kansas City, and so we believe in investing in leaders with vision who can execute, and we're really excited about some of the people we see here in Kansas City doing great things.
Especially in a time lately where maybe it's felt like to some people there hasn't been as much reason to have hope. I think more than anything what gives me hope is the fellow members of my generation and just young people. You know, I look around Jewel, I look around the Kansas City community and really just kind of across the country. A lot of the students that I've been fortunate enough to meet, they see things as they are, and they know that things could be a lot better and things could be a lot different, and that they want to make them different. Just to know that they and we are going to get our chance to make the change that we want to see, to turn our passion into actual substantive improvements in our country. That gives me hope.
We've been honored to be a part of the COVID-19 Response and Recovery Fund, which has been this amazing effort to bring many different philanthropists, but also community members, institutions together to respond to the pandemic. But I'm excited that that group has now identified how some of those areas that were hit worst in the crisis, there may be opportunities to look at how we can create better systems and more sustainable solutions coming out of it as well. This collective effort around COVID response and recovery actually dovetails nicely with my work through KC Rising. And we've set some pretty ambitious goals for where we want the city to go. Even though they're ambitious, I think we really all believe we can do that. We can get Kansas City there.
First and foremost, I think we have amazing people. I think we're very resilient, we're very compassionate, we're very philanthropic, very generous community, and we're very hardworking. So I think we take that to all of the initiatives that we have in our industry. We have great industries such as architecture, engineering, and construction. We have, again, strong healthcare. We have strong entrepreneurship backed by the Kauffman Foundation. We have strong life sciences programs. We have great culture and arts. We have great sports teams, great small businesses as well, and great support for small businesses.
I always share something that the late, great Buck O'Neil said to me when he got to Kansas City in 1938. He recalled, he says, "Bob, I knew I was coming to the heart of America. I never knew I was coming to the center of the universe." And Kansas City is the center of the universe. It is a leader in so many areas. The spirit of community is not lost on the people who live in the city. And a city is only as good as the people who make it up. And this city is filled with great people. And I think that is where the greatness of our city lies. That is its most valuable resource, are those people.